The principal, because she was trying to get her numbers up and stuff, she tried to push my son out of school by, I approached and I said, I really need help with my son. He walks in the front door and he's out the back door. She said, just send him to Job Corps. And so my son had not been in trouble otherwise. Her response to me was devastating. And I took that before the school board and said, well, this is how we approach parents, and this is how we try to fix things, is by moving children out of school. And I don't want to see that happen to another child. And my son stayed in that school. He graduated actually from high school. But I do not want to see that happen to one more child. And that's why I have stayed with this. We presented to different groups, whether it was a PTA, a parent group, or whatever it was called in that particular school. Our bus just continued to move, and it took along those families that were interested in it. Actually, wherever we showed up, whatever village we showed up at, they all climbed on the bus and followed us and became part of the 400 families that were interviewed. And then it came down to a family group of about maybe 40 families that co-wrote the policy.
One of the powerful things about the meetings was that we'd always do relationship building in addition to the writing and editing and the planning. So we always carve out time to build relationships with each other through storytelling. So the policy was really based on storytelling, and then finding themes in those stories that became the elements of the policy, or elements of the policy. And there was a fifth element too that was very significant, and that's what's kind of in the body of that first paragraph, which is that we utilize the histories and the cultures of our families as a foundation for education. And that was key because many of the communities of color, the people said that they felt invisible going into the school, they felt disrespected, and information from the school was not sent home in their home language. And one of the real powerful things was when people from different identity groups began to see themselves in each other's stories. After we wrote the policy and began advocating for the policy, the same dynamics that informed the policy started happening to us as a group, as Families United, like disrespectful treatment, poor communication, and even like this kind of gangster kind of mentality of coming after people to get rid of them, silence them, marginalize them, in order to maintain the status quo. Because some of the board members did not feel like it was really our place to be creating policy. Same with the superintendent. So we had to deal with those same dynamics as we were advocating for the policy that we experienced in our schools as parents.
I just also wanted our group to maintain its respect, although we were disrespected in many regards. And at every turn, thanking and sending in cards, thanking the board for their time and the opportunity to speak before them, although it should really be our right. But I always make sure that we maintain that decorum of respect, no matter what, how difficult the situation has been.